Welcome back. So I've been working on this all day and I'm asking myself, kind of reflecting back on what did I do? I didn't take any video, and then I kind of came to realize that I did do a lot of work. I was on the phone for probably over an hour with Tom at TS Flight Lines, and one thing he pointed out is I had an AN fitting going on here, like that T, but because of the way the engine shifts, that's not a good idea because it can actually cause it to loosen. And it all makes sense after he explained it. So we are getting this piece here. So it's still a T, but this actually bolts right into the fuel pump. And then I put my AN fittings on that. So basically what he's saying is you have, you know, like say I take this, yeah, see how it's just loosened? So if you have that kind of shifting going on, then these can actually loosen. So something to be aware of. Kind of made me rethink of how I do some of these things, but it doesn't change too much. I'm in good shape. Then I started cutting some of these scat tubes just because it was something to do. I put this one on. I had cut one earlier, but they give you so much, and I felt it was a little bit short, so I cut this one an inch longer. Then this one down here, you know, gets really tight because I don't have the offset heat exchanger. So I'm trying to make this work. I did a 45 on the side of the oil cooler. I might do this side too to match it. And now I'm trying to figure out, like, what do people do? Every picture that I see, it's just kind of hanging. But do you want to keep it off the exhaust? Yeah, so pondering that. I also actually got some anti-seize. So I put all of the exhaust nuts on the studs, and I dropped one of the washers over there. I kid you not, I spent 45 minutes looking for it on this stupid floor. It ended up rolling all the way over there. I thought I got caught in my dog's hair or something. Like, good reason to clean the shop, but eventually I found it, so got that done. And yeah, so these scat tubes are kind of hard to cut clean. I don't know, yeah, you can kind of see this is the first one I cut. I think it's this side or that side. Anyway, it didn't look very good, but I kind of came up with a way to cut them clean. If you want, I'll show you. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Hold on. All right, let's see if I can get this right. It took me 3 tries to get my technique down. And let's say you want this part of the tube, and you want a clean end on here. This end's all jacked up. What I found, take the razor blade and go right next to the wire and just follow the wire around. And when you get to where it started, all right, just overlap it a little bit. Then you take some sacrificial cutters, cut that off. Then no, I did it wrong. Oh my god. So go on the outside of the wire. Here we go. Yeah, you want some all right, you got that? Then I took my scissors and I just kind of cut it straight. So you should cross over the cloth part about halfway because it goes, you know, wire, cloth, wire, cloth. So I just start kind of trimming it. And now I'm like 180 degrees, kind of cut over the cloth. So that looks pretty clean. You can still. Then this part, because it wants to poke out, I just take some pliers. I give it a quick bend in at the end, move it in 3/8 of an inch, another quick bend, move it in 3/8 of an inch, and another quick bend. And you kind of end up with that thing not wanting to poke out, like sitting nice. So Like I say, you can kind of clean that up. Then sometimes you have some stragglers there. Obviously it doesn't burn too well, but you can kind of just cauterize the ends. So that's how I came up with, look at that, it even stands straight. Plumbers will know what I'm talking about. So that was my, that's non-cut and scat tube. I'm such a pro. Next merit badge I'm working on is how to get this into that. Feels like I'm gonna poke myself. That's for the smoke system. So see if we can figure that one out. Okay, took a few tries, but I think I figured something out that's worth sharing. So yeah, the hardest part is actually cutting the end piece off. And I've tried snips, kind of. This works, but I literally ate through one wheel just cutting one end. So what I did was, you know, you wrap a piece of tape around it. And I found this one to work best. So if you got one of those, that works probably as good as anything. Do half on one side. Stainless is pretty tough. Then you take this guy apart. There's a little ferrule in there, don't lose that. And then make sure to put this over while you still have the tape on there. I did one without and it was really kind of hard. Then you peel the tape off. And you'll see this. Well, this one's not too bad, but kind of wants to spread right out. So, which is okay, that's what we want. Also take this opportunity to blow any contaminants out of it. And then I take the razor blade, try to cut the end a little neater, just a nylon end. You don't want to cut too much off because otherwise the stainless steel strands will be too long. So just kind of try and square that off a little bit. Then you take this guy, it only goes on one way. It's got a stop on the other side. Push that on all the way. You can kind of see inside there. It doesn't go on any further. Then you take this guy, stick it inside. All right, and then put this guy and screw it on. I kind of let whatever spin. And you don't, I was watching a video, there's a video online from the smoke system helper guys. You don't have to tighten it all the way. As a matter of fact, they said you want like fingers, nails width in there. So that's how you do that. Actually pretty easy. The hardest thing was trying to find something to cut the stainless and then make sure that the things don't fray out so you can't get this guy over it. But like I said, cutoff tool works really good, and I didn't have much luck with the big cutters. So I got the right side done. It goes into the smoke injector port there. Just kind of running it this way, give it some leeway, figure out what to do with this. Maybe clamp these together, I'm not sure yet. The left side I have here, and obviously it's going to run somehow across there and then come out here and maybe do something like that. But I want to see where these throttle cables line up before I cut this to length. And yeah, unfortunately, like I said, I don't have the panel, but I was looking at these and I just realized that last time I actually marked these, because I'm so smart, where they sit inside the ball joints. So technically I can install them. I know it's going to be a pain to take them out again, but that will at least allow me to continue on these brackets. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so I got these in. I ended up putting the throttle on the top one and the mixture on the bottom. Like, I think Tony did the same thing. And I'll tell you why, because it's got, this is the mixture which needs to go over here. But if that guy was on top, I'm not sure how it, I don't know, it would have a lot of bends, so I think this is the better way to go. I had these little brackets in there. I got all the hardware kind of sourced for this. There was a couple of confusing things on this one. So this called for an AN 3-10 bolt, which was way too long. But this side is the same with a 7. So I put a 7 in. And the washers called for a number 16 call out, which is Loctite. But it kind of showed showed a washer, but 16 is the same as a Loctite here, so probably just a misprint. I'm going to use some common sense and put washers in there the same as that, and number 7-7 bolt, 7A actually, like the other side. So then I took these things and I just kind of knocked the edge off to match the piece that they have there. I'm just going to clean that up and put those on. I did a preliminary fit up, and by having these straight, they were kind of in the ballpark on both sides. So the spacing on the bracket is 1/2 inch, so I basically just drilled them 3/8 inch in from the other side, and on an 1 1/4 bracket, that gave me that 1/2 inch spacing. So basically these brackets are just straight to each other, and now I'm gonna try and figure out how to get the hose, you know, so the cable, so it kind of bends nicely in there. Be a little bit of a struggle, but it should be all right. I know it's probably hard to see, but they're gonna have to take some kind of roller coaster turns to get to where they need to be. But it looks like the cable is designed to do that as long as the end is straight. And this guy had to, I haven't done it yet, basically take the cotter pin out, take the castle nut off, it's on there pretty tight, and then relocate this so it's in the range of motion. And before I got too far, I'm like, all right, let me check what the torque is for this. And basically it's 90 pounds, inch-pounds, once you put it back on, and then torque it to the next possible position to get the cotter pin through, not to exceed 130 inch-pounds. So yeah, thought I'd share that while I went through the trouble of looking it up, because they have you look here, then look there, then look there, and here it is. If I had to guess, I'd say I moved it from the almost 6 o'clock position to the 8 o'clock position when it's closed. And yeah, I'm still battling with these cables here. I think this one I can kind of manipulate that way. But this mixture cable, this sucks with a capital F. And the reason it's such a pain is because it goes right into the fuel inlet for the fuel pump. I guess one option would be, I do have them reversed, that the mixture should go on top, but then I really don't know how it would be long enough to reach to this side, and that would make the throttle even longer. So I think at this point, you know, depending on how it lays with the panel and the shelf, that maybe I can steal some up in here, but I think I'm kind of wasting my time trying to get this in. My idea was kind of to have these situated, and maybe they'll bend themselves into place by sitting like that for a few days and make things easier. But I think that'll be it for the cables. I do have one more hose thing, so with Tom's help, I came up, or he guided me to get this piece. We're going back to the fuel pump outlet. I don't know if you can see. But this right here has an AN fitting on it, and I was going to put a compression ANT on this with a compression going down and compression going up. So down to the FT60 and then up to the fuel pressure sensor. He said that was a bad idea because the rocking of the engine can actually loosen that, and that has happened before. So that made total sense once he said that. So because I'm kind of tight on space, he guided me to this piece, which is, I have the part number. That will screw directly into that, so it actually gets rid of a fitting, and then I can put my compression fitting going up, and he's making me an AN6 to AN4 with a restrictor. And something else I learned, these show plane mounts for the sensors, which are really nice, actually have a 40 thousandths restrictor built in. So I said, well, do I need the restrictor coming out of here? And I guess you could go either way, but this is to protect the sensor in case there's a catastrophic failure and the sensor blows off or whatever. This is to protect the hose. So let's say the hose chafes through and you have a catastrophic failure. So manifold pressure, I guess, wouldn't be so bad, but oil or fuel, that would be bad if that is coming out at full flow. So the reason, and this may be common knowledge, but I didn't think of it, so I'm sharing it. The ports coming out of the block, I'm going to use restrictors on that as well. So let's say that fuel line lets go or something happens up here, you're not going to be pissing fuel everywhere. And the other thing, with the digital systems, it'll help stabilize the fluctuations on it. So I got it installed, and now I'm basically measuring the hoses. So I measured this hose going from here to there, and I'm going to put a little bend in it to give it some suspension. And this hose, I'm really happy with this one because this is going to be level with the fuel servo inlet, and basically it's going to end up something like this. So it has a nice suspension. It doesn't interfere with the mixture control cable, and it doesn't drop down, doesn't drop up. It's just level, so that should be really good. And on their website, it tells you how to measure them all. So I got 1, 2. Oh yeah, and then I have the one that comes out of the top of that piece going to the fuel sensor. And I have manifold pressure. I think I talked about this already, going to manifold pressure sensor. And then oil pressure sensor going to the whatever inside there. So I got 5 hoses to make. All right, so I'm gonna measure those. I'll get those ordered. This will probably be the hose and cable video. Hoses fun. Hoses, cables. Hoses, cables. I'll get them situated. It's just kind of annoying because it's tight in there and I don't, you know. I'm good. I just like the wrap. All right. Good night. Thank you for watching. And I think next I'm going to do the airbox. So that might be a good project for this weekend. Get that puppy on there. All right. Good night. Thank you. Wait, there's more. So for measuring the wires, I just cut a piece, for measuring the hoses, I just cut a piece of wire. So basically you want to go from that fitting to that fitting. I want it to go neatly around that. So cut a piece of wire or whatever, and then you can lay it out. You got 12 inches there. It's a lot easier than trying to do this thing. So something I found that works for me.